will now move ahead with our panel discussion on the topic Changing Landscape of Cloud and Cybersecurity, Time to Make Innovative Policies to Create Effective Strategies Through Collaboration and Leadership. For this, please join me in welcoming on stage Shri Ashish Upadhyay, DGM, Cybersecurity and Forensics, ITDA, Uttarakhand. Please give a big round of applause as the panelists join us on the stage. Professor Sandeep Shukla, Director, IIIT, Hyderabad. Mr. M.A.K.P. Singh, CTO, CyberPeace Foundation and Vice Chairman, CSAI. Mr. Mithilesh Singh, Managing Director, Protiviti Consulting. Mr. Bharat Panchal, PhD, Chief Risk and Regulatory Officer, APAC and Middle East Global Payment Network, Discover Financial Services. Mr. Aditya Kadiyan, Country Head _ Cybersecurity. Mr. Gourav Kumar, Regional Manager, Government, Trellix. In order to moderate the session, I would like to welcome on stage Mr. Rajneesh, Group Editor, APAC Media. Please give all our panelists a big round of applause.
Good afternoon, and basically this panel discussion is standing between lunch, and we are running behind schedule, so I'd request each of you to keep the answers brief, and I think Mr. Aditya will be joining in. So what we would like to, and I'd start with you, Ashish. Basically, the first and foremost, and we have fairly representative stakeholders of the overall ecosystem. There are the policymakers, the government side, there is academia also, there is industry. So more or less all the stakeholders are there. So first, when we are talking about, let's get to the more basics, though we have been talking about more, but one, porting applications. Many of the applications are ported onto cloud. That is one part. And second is when we are talking about AI infrastructure, the data center part, that is more the fundamental part. So porting applications on cloud, then leveraging those applications from cloud, and as well as some core services or systems which might be on private cloud. Some applications are on public. In this overall scenario, cybersecurity or the security aspect becomes a big challenge because many applications are vulnerable. So starting with you, Ashish, what I would like each panelist to address one biggest or key challenge that is there from each of the stakeholders in the ecosystem. Starting with you.
First of all, thank you, Rajneesh. And this is very pertinent question that you have been asking because, but I'll be confining myself to state data center only, and the geos that we do have in the state. So definitely, in a state we have rules and regulations where all the data that we are having that the government is generating or applications that we have that should be residing at the state data center only. But due to some reasons, and there are various reasons, be it infrastructure issues or sometimes issues related to their requirements, we have been migrating to the panel clouds or for that matter, same JCN and NC clouds as well. But yes, while doing so, if you talk about what are the biggest challenges, so that what we have been facing is the migration. First thing, the migration, that the matching again, the synchronization. Top on that, the biggest thing almost is the security. So security, whatever we have been doing here, so in such cases we have to manage the security at the state data center level as well. Likewise, we have to manage the security at the cloud as well. If we are trying to think the synchronization. So these are few issues that we have been facing as government entities. Yes.
Just as an aside, in the morning we heard, and this is very pertinent for a state like Uttarakhand, where there is a lot of remote hilly terrains. We heard the benefits of having localized edge computing applications. So very briefly, any thoughts on developments on that front?
Yeah, definitely. We have been looking into this and have been discussing such aspects, and that's why we have been doing such initiatives morning you might have witnessed we did MOU with the IIIT Hyderabad as well. So this is one a milestone or other in step towards where we have been thinking of such innovations, such new technologies, and other ways how we can enrich the digital resilience in the state of Uttarakhand. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Professor Shukla, I'll come to you next. Now from a different perspective, academia. Again, we heard in one of the morning sessions and increasingly from many speakers, one key challenge when we are talking about AI or for that matter, even now cloud in the government, relevant skill sets, whether the workforce, whether they have the relevant skill sets or not. So from an academia perspective, my question is one, how are you looking at addressing this challenge? It's a disparate country, heterogeneous workforce. How are you addressing that issue? And is there a long-term solution? Because unlike in software development where we saw more linear development, just having more people and the output is getting, but here how are things different?
Yeah. So I think the problem, as you said, there is no longer a linear scaling. Like by throwing in more people, you can get better work and things like that. So we have to figure out how to give training that are specific to this new AI age. How to use AI, productively for making better quality software or products, and also how to protect that AI-based products from cyber problems. Because as we have been seeing that when you generate code and when you generate ideas, they are not necessarily always foolproof, and various corner cases are there. So this requires a different kind of training, and this is not going to scale very well. So right now, like in 1980s, 90s, we created many engineering colleges. Everybody was getting trained in IT, and we basically became the back office of the world in IT kind of thing. I think we need a different kind of training, and that requires very different approach to education. And that needs to happen very quickly because world is changing very fast. Technology world is changing very fast. So we recently started a center for education and learning in the new age, and that is supposed to tell us how to train the new generation with the help of AI, in AI, and also how to protect us from AI, becoming the slave driver of human rather than human driving the AI. So that kind of approach needs to be taken. So it's a new approach needs to be taken. New thinking is required.
Okay, thank you. Very importantly, we mentioned that it's not that the earlier model of scaling up, linear scaling up will work. It needs a different kind of approach for training. Great. M.A.K.P. Singh, your vast experience in the power sector, and power sector is one core infrastructure sector where the cybersecurity vulnerability has been on the higher side, and more importantly, you just can't tolerate in the sense cybersecure breaches that will put the whole. So, if I may ask you, the biggest cybersecurity challenge when these applications, especially in the power sector, are moving to cloud and more AI is being leveraged, what biggest challenge would you like to highlight on the security front?
From the power sector point, we are now more focusing on availability and efficiency as well as economy. So for that, we are heavily now deploying IoT devices, AI, and moving all our data on the cloud, availing the cloud. So this has really improved the sector in terms of availability, ensuring the power around the clock, but it has increased the challenges also. See, first of all, it's feared that in the cybersecurity operations center, we are not fully relying on the sole solutions, because if we allow the automation, we don't know whether that operation may jeopardize our security function itself. And coming down back to it, in China, they have deployed in the distribution centers, discoms, agentic AI, which are doing the job of load dispatcher. So we are still trying to build up the confidence in AIs and the data that we are stored and the models on which this data is programmed. If the hackers are able to poison it, it may malfunction. So that's the biggest challenge actually. And cost cutting in the sense of posting the data on the cloud itself is going to create a big problem if we are to shift from one cloud service to another, because data migration itself will take a lot of throw a lot of challenges in terms of entire data transfer in one go or in the phase manner, which may disrupt the supply system.
Very briefly, if I may ask you, talked about data migration is a challenge. I'm saying why just only data migration, especially in core infrastructure sector, even the lot of systems are still legacy,
Yes.
which are really outdated, but they are getting migrated now. So does that pose a challenge very briefly?
Yes, migration of the legacy system to new modern technology itself is a big challenge, because it will be not in a one go, it will be in a phase manner, and moreover we require the downtime actually, and we also don't know whether there will be technical glitches in ensuring that it goes well with the architecture, reference architecture. So this is a big challenge. Moreover, we are also facing the concern of safety and security. Safety in sense that disruption will not take place, so that no livelihood or loss of lives takes place. And security itself is there, that there may be some sort of supply chain risk. That is also need to be considered while we are migrating to next generation technologies.
Okay, thank you. Mithilesh, I'll come to you next. Again, the similar question, both from the cloud adoption as more and more applications, and we have a typical hybrid cloud model depending on the application. So, operational challenges on migration to cloud and also on the cybersecurity front. One biggest challenge that you would like to highlight, apart from the ones already mentioned.
So I think analyst has covered the insightful information. What I would like to add here is that with the recent situation which was evolving at West Asia, one of the cyber-related very prominent situations which had come up, wherein the data center or the cloud service providers, they have become a target by the oppositions. So, if you look into the way how Japan operates on the resiliency part, that is something which we have to learn from them. And we should also look into the aspect that how the hyperscale data centers concept need to be decentralized. So to avoid that kind of situation, ultimately any such kind of situation arises in the cyber aspect. Compromise on the cyber, compromise on the ability. So in order to protect the resiliency and in order to have a resilient environment, decentralization is very, very important, because that will also meet your expectation on the cyber aspect, the ability aspect of the services. That's the one thing. And in addition to that, most of the cyber-related aspects were already covered. Okay.
Thanks. So the important part is, first, your premise is very true. Though the West Asia war is still a lot of physical aspect, but we all acknowledge that increasingly these world war kind of situation will more be on the cyber front only. So the idea of decentralization of the data center That's a great idea, but again, as you rightly mentioned, that brings with it the concurrent challenges. Okay. Bharat, Panchal, I'll come to you next. In one, I'd again like to ask the challenge that you would like to highlight on both cybersecurity and cloud front. And beyond that, one of the panelists, one of the speakers talked about regulations. There are a lot of, and different sectors have their different regulations and conformance or compliance with those regulations. That poses another set of challenge.
I don't think
What
so.
is your take on that?
No, I don't think so. The regulation become a challenge for anybody. We have to follow the law of the land.
No, we have to follow the law.
Right. So, but yes, let me start my point on the challenge of the sector. I come from banking, and I'm sure everybody is using something which we have developed, that is UPI. I was part of that UPI development, and I've seen how banking sector has grown last 10, 20 years, 10, 15 years. I think it is revolutionary. One of the biggest challenge for banking today, apart from the adopting cloud, yes, the adopting cloud is also a big challenge because there is a clear demarcation of the new age bank vis-a-vis the traditional old age bank. Now, you talk about the big bank like SBI or the Union Bank of India or PNB or Canara Bank. They are there for centuries, right? More than century. Banking system before 2010 was never ever designed keeping the security in mind. Now we are adding security as one of the biggest critical layer in the banking. Now, how you can't fix the problem overnight. That's the biggest challenge. Banking has another problem. The banking sector, unlike power and education and all, it is not impacting to every single common man of the country. Banking connects to every common man. How are you keeping that common man's interest in mind? That is another aspect, because after I launched UPI, I've investigated more than 1 million cases of fraud. 98% of fraud in our country has nothing to do with technology. There is no cybersecurity challenge at all. 70% is out of greed, 15% out of fear, and 12 to 13% out of ignorance. So it is GIF. GIF contributes 98%. So, but still, the 2% is very, very important, because if 2% technology exploit, vulnerable things are exploited by hackers, then it can break down the entire ecosystem. Exactly. So, irrespective of whether it is on-prem or cloud, the regulation plays a major role, because, as I said, initially security was not as a challenge. Now security is in everything. Like I'm going to that extent when I'm speaking right now. Somebody may be hacking and listening what I'm speaking right now. The challenge is going to that extent. Therefore, when it comes to regulation, regulators are far more, rather I would say, practical and pragmatic, and having very great foresight, and therefore they are adding newer and newer regulation to make sure that while if a big bank has a very I wouldn't say average, but very old traditional the infrastructure, at the same time the new set of bank, they bring the control at par, and that is what the regulator's job is. If we see regulator as a speed breaker, no, they are not. Actually, they are cautioning you, they are warning you, and they are asking you to make sure that whosoever use, whether the guy is doing 1 lakh crore rupees transaction or 100 rupee transaction, the equal emphasis of control environment is given for every single transaction. I think that is the role of regulator, and I believe not only RBI, all the regulators in our country, including the government of India, the DPDP is one of the big things which is coming in our time. But I must tell you that so far we haven't bothered much about privacy. We don't care about privacy. There's a state of Indian people that because we believe sharing is caring.
You don't understand privacy.
No, we believe sharing is caring, right? But you are no more into that state of where you believe that sharing is caring. Sharing is dangerous. How you can bring the paradigm shift, or how you can bring the psychological paradigm shift among people? That is going to be key challenge. Okay. Be it banking, be it any other regulation.
So your focus is on the general awareness, not just awareness, it's beyond that now. Having that, what you mentioned as a psychological paradigm shift to happen. Great. Aditya, I'll come now. You have heard from the government, the Uttarakhand government, what they are doing. You have heard the academia perspective in terms of having people with relevant skill sets, power sector, BFSI, and the overall sector, the challenges. Now, from an industry point of view, very briefly, how can you address some of these challenges, if not all?
Actually, sir, technology advancement has reached to a level already. Only thing is, we must have some enforcing policies. At times it is happening. It is just a box checking, and people are not taking it very seriously. The regulation, the compliances, and other things. So only thing is, and there is a overlapping of security, technologies. Multiple devices are doing the same thing. So we must have a very clear idea by some agency which is already having well versed with all these challenges. These are the technology which are really needed and enforcing and will be delivering the desired results. Secondly, sir, these attacks, these challenges are coming into encrypted form these days. So we must have a clear, vision what we have in our network. There has to be a clarity of what all is there and what need to be addressed at the same time. CTAM, continuation threat exposure management kind of technologies, which can give you a clear visibility and that can give you a timely actionable intelligence so that you can take corrective measure before disaster happens. So that's what my take is.
Okay, thank you. Gourav, I'll come to you with the similar questions. You heard all the issues that have been addressed by different stakeholders. What sort of best practices would you recommend?
Okay, so I heard everyone. So the first thing is, we talked about cloud, we talked about legacy system, skill set, etc. One thing is very clear, the attack surface is increasing. Okay, and when the attack surface is increasing, which means our strategy also has to be transformed to ensure that surface is covered so that we can say, yes, whatever activities or tasks we are doing with respect to the transformation of our systems, those are secure. Because looking at the geopolitical situation, we already talked about West Asia, disturbance, etc. But let me tell you, there is cyber war was going on since ages. And this is getting more and more complicated. So, the best practices perspective, yes, Trellix is one of the trusted cybersecurity partner. We are one of the oldest cybersecurity companies. So we have technology which are very advanced when we talk about today's landscape and which address the use cases which we just discussed, like starting from the cloud migration. So we ensure that when the data is moved to the cloud, how we can have a consistent security policies. Because on-prem, you have one set of policy. When you are moving to the cloud, as a customer, the first expectation is the policies has to be consistent. So we ensure from that layer. So like I said, the use cases which we just discussed, we have a vast technology, people, process. We are there for our customer. We work with them from day one, and we help them to ensure that their journey from the cybersecurity perspective is completed, is secured, and of course, it's ongoing. So we are always partnering with them.
Okay. So the surface area where it's exposed to attack, that has expanded, and two is the policy level front that you are talking about. We will have a quick round with all the panelists, and then we'll wrap it up. I'll start again with you, Ashish. I would like to understand from an Uttarakhand perspective, if we say the next 12 to 18 months, what are going to be the key projects in terms of this digital innovation journey? The key aspects where the focus will be there.
So, I'll be starting from the data center perspective. We are going to have our data center 2.0 very soon. Though we have started, we have onboarded the consultant. They have been doing the market surveys, and they have been doing what currently existing capabilities are, where the gaps are, and to cater the future requirements and security needs, what should be the next architecture. And based on that, we have been going to build a new data centers. So now we have at the stage where we have already collected those done that gap analysis, done that as is and 2B analysis as well. So the very first project that we have been into is the data center 2.0, which is most probably will be completed by this year or for that matter next year. And that will pave the way to digital security and digital revolution to the state, because almost the data center that we are running with are almost legacy. So this is one. Secondly, looking at the emergence of artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies, we have also doing MOUs as well, collaborating with institute like IIIT Hyderabad, IITs, and other research institutes as well to cater the security and emerging threats needs as well. So second is that we have been doing work with engaging startups as well, and we have been including AI into the cybersecurity and cybersecurity into the AI as well. So yeah, these are the very important things. Yeah.
Important one is obviously the data center expansion and the dynamics involved wherein you are talking about. And the second point was very interesting. I was thinking, see, Uttarakhand as a state, very traditionally, historically, if you see, a lot of the government research institutes are there in this state. And so now in this modern era, you are looking at collaborating with research institutions beyond the state also.
Yeah.
Historically, most of the national research institutions, if you see in the science, especially in the scientific domain, are located in this state only.
Yeah, so this is how I look at a state of Uttarakhand. In morning itself, Honorable Chief Minister sir referred one line that he's a blessed CM. So he asked that person was him, you are a blessed CM. So later he asked why I'm blessed CM. So he told that you have a lot of resources in the state, a lot of you refer research center and all. So definitely, whatever be the situation, what will bless Chief Minister. So yes, I look in same state of the Uttarakhand. That yes, it is a blessed state, and definitely somewhere our orientation or collaboration is a bit require more strengthening. That where we have been focusing on now. Yes, IIT Roorkee we are having Pantnagar Engineering College as well, which is very renowned engineering colleges and all. So yes, we have been collaborating. We are collecting all that and setting that in a row. And definitely in recent few years, Uttarakhand will be not only known for the APADA, it will be known for the security and trust that we have in it.
Great. Thanks. Professor Shukla, very briefly, you mentioned about the new approach. What are your plans on that? Very briefly.
We started a new center, research center on learning and education in the AI age. So obviously, we are seeing that students are using a lot of these AI tools and not learning enough. But then using AI tools is also very important for their future, because we want to make them problem solvers rather than, for example, coding is no longer a skill that is required, but problem solving or having the critical thinking are the tools that they need to have in order to survive in the AI age. And that's what we are trying to do right now. And we are also building new AI policy in our institute, like what should be the policy of using AI, allowing using AI in their work, so that they are not disadvantaged. On the other hand, they need to actually know how to use AI for problem solving.
Okay, so thanks. Very important. Developing critical reasoning and formulating an AI policy. M.A.K.P, briefly, 1 minute. Future plans.
See, we all are talking about data centers coming in big numbers. But at the back end, we need a power supply, reliable power supply to it. There is a upcoming data centers in US which is going to absorb a power of 3 gigawatts. And the total peak demand of Uttarakhand is also touching around 3 gigawatt. So we need the powers in the big way, and the Uttarakhand has a big resources, water resources. So during my tenure as member hydro, we had pushed a lot. So we need to push a lot in terms of having more and more renewables. And if you want to develop hydro, we have to see that it is development is safe and secure by way that our tunnels that we bore that is drilled in a time record, because some of the tunnels are getting delayed because of fragile geology. So we need to use here AI ML and AR VR to have a safe and secure tunneling also,
Okay.
and hydro project also.
Got it. Thanks. So, your focus is on the back end. In fact, one of the speakers in the morning also spoke that we might need 2 to 3 nuclear plants to support the AI data centers. Okay. Mithilesh Singh, sir, 1 minute, the future, the immediate plans over the next few quarters.
Okay, so Uttarakhand, from legislative point of view, it's a very young state. However, it's a very progressive state, I must say. Couple of things which, at a policy front, at a government level, the promotion on such kind of policies where problem solving is specific to the states by using AI and that too SLM. Because it's very specific to the kind of use cases of this state on this. You don't require to copy the LLM models, because that again requires a huge amount of investment, huge amount of infrastructure. So better to go for SLM kind of models where it requires a certainly limited amount of infrastructure in building those kind of AI infra data center. And in the morning, I think some of the panel and the eminent speaker has also mentioned that this state is having abundant of natural resources, and which I don't want to repeat it again, but that's the one thing that should be the focus to take the progression further.
Okay, so basically, keeping in mind instead of a generic LLM model, following SLM, which understands or caters to the dynamics of the state. Great. Bharat, Panchal, your 1 minute on basically the most important future plan critical.
Well, not having legacy in technology is a blessing, and therefore it is very, very pertinent for the state of Uttarakhand to adopt technology at this stage, being a very youngest state in the country. So it is good for the state, and definitely, as Ashish mentioned about the plan. My only request is that when something is new being created right from the ground, using responsible AI is very, very important. AI is very, very generic. Use responsible AI. Second, the data. India is the largest country in the world generating the biggest number of data. We do not have control. It's the right time when you are starting something new for your state. You should have right data governance policy. Use data which is necessary. Don't collect data unnecessarily. Because at any point of time, the moment we land up into data sovereignty issue and we become a data colonization, then things will be out of your hand. Somebody else will take decision using your own data. So using responsible AI with responsible data privacy is key for the future.
Okay, so what you are mentioning is an impact and effect and cause and effect kind of thing. Responsible AI is a natural outcome of sensible data collection rather than random data collection. Aditya, Kadiyan, your 1 minute. What, hearing all of them, what would be the best practice or future plan from your side that you would like to share with the other panelists and the people here? No, I'm saying from the Korean perspective.
So we are working on only this aspect of this risk and compliance. Risk and compliance. These are the two trends we are following, and we will be following soon. In coming days, you will see a lot of Make in India things coming in from our side, where we will be only focusing on risk and compliance, because a lot of academic things have been written but not being followed rigorously. So our humble request is, whatever has been guided and mentioned by certain, that should be followed and that should be enforced, a bit, you can say harshly, then only we can defend ourselves against these cyber threats. Yeah. Thank you.
So the focus on risk and compliance and strictly according to how certain has defined. Gourav, you have the last word. What are your plans in terms of solutions, services, or recommendations for the assembled audience here?
Sure. So I think I'll not take much time. The only one word I would be having, we want to be partner with all of you, with all the customers, and we want to start with you from the secure by design. So once you design, the security is needed, and we are there to support you. We are there to partner with you. We are there to work with you, so that whatever system you design, be it banking, be it power, be it state, the design phase is quite important. And that is the phase where you have to adopt the security requirements, security controls, and we are there to support you, to work with you and partner.
Great. Thanks. On that note, we finish the panel discussion. We can continue the discussion offline and some other points. So before we disperse, may I request Dr. Tanzim Ali, Finance Controller, ITDA, to hand over a token of appreciation to all our panelists. And we have the tokens and Ashish Upadhyay.
Mr. Aditya Kadiyan, Country Head _ Cybersecurity. And Mr. Gourav Kumar, Regional Manager, Government Trellix. Requesting everyone to please come forward for a group picture.